The government's budget deficit just keeps growing, reaching $125 billion in May. That is more than twice the amount it was 1 year ago. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. Since President Obama first took office in 2009, the Federal Reserve's holdings of government debt has increased by more than, wait for it, 450%. So the government issues debt like treasuries, and then it just buys it itself. Right now, the Fed holds $1.6 trillion of U.S. government debt. I'm not sure Alexander Hamilton would like any of this, and I'm joined now by Texas Republican Congressman Louie Gohmert. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Melissa.
So let me ask you, these numbers are skyrocketing. What does it mean to you? What's the long-term problem with that? Why should we be worried?
Well, all kinds of reasons. And you mentioned, metaphorically speaking, a parent going in and asking for a loan, and they're going, well, what do you need the loan for? I can't stop spending money, so I need you to loan me money. Well, how could you pay it back? Well, I will sign in blood, whatever it takes. My kids over here, they'll pay it someday. CPS would be in trying to take your kids away. That is so irresponsible. You want to create stability in the market, then show a government that's being responsible. And instead, this president has gone on the warpath after energy. Melissa, we ought to be experiencing a new renaissance, just a new upsurge in all kinds of good economic conditions here. Yep. We now know, like we didn't know 7 years ago when I got to Congress, that we can be energy independent, as your guests were talking about. That's hundreds of billions of dollars not going to people, some of whom fund terrorism, and instead keeping it here. Melissa, I was just out on a rig last week, and they said the minimum job there out of 50, 60 jobs makes $75,000, $85,000.
Okay, but I want to get you. I want to get you back to the debt, though, because those are all great points, and I care about them a lot, though.
Well, yes, and I don't know if you can see this, Melissa, but the line goes from down here, and it gets over to $500 billion when this president starts, and then just shoots up like crazy. Who wants to keep doing business with a government that has this much debt and that owns this much debt?
But
it is not good for the world.
What does that mean in the long run? Does it mean inflation? Does it mean, I mean, China used to be the biggest holder of our debt. Now it looks like we're the biggest holder of our own debt. What does it mean in the long run for our kids? What's the problem?
And it's not long run for our kids. It's long term for us. We're talking about skyrocketing inflation at a time when our economy is already hurting. Some of us remember Jimmy Carter's days and the terrible conditions, the high interest, the high unemployment, and the high inflation rates. That's where we're headed if we don't bring this down. Bernanke looked some of us right in the eye and said, we're not monetizing our debt. We're not buying our own debt. He was lying.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Okay.
We need honesty, and we need to bring down our debt and get rid of so much of the debt. Quit monetizing it.
Quit monetizing
and we can avoid
the debt. I love it, Congressman. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're coming up against a hard break. I appreciate your time. We'll have to have you back soon.
We can solve this, though. We can solve this with our own energy.